Lowell, if you could ask Shanahan one question, what would it be?
Oh, I'll tell you right now. What kinds of things make you laugh?
Oh,
I would.
wow.
What makes you
Wow.
laugh?
Yeah.
What do you find funny?
Yeah.
Do you ever giggle? Do you and your wife sit down and just get silly and giggle?
Do you
My
understand
wife and I
how
giggle.
do you understand how uncomfortable that would make him? That question. That's why it's the best question. It would make
You
him
could ask
so uncomfortable.
Iggy, you could ask Kittle that question.
Oh, he would love to answer that question.
Love it,
It would be his favorite question of the day.
right?
But with Kyle, he would feel it as almost like an intrusion, right? Why do you want to know that about me? That's private. You could ask Jim Harbaugh that question.
You could ask Jim Harbaugh that question, and he'd either answer it or tell you to go screw yourself.
Yeah.
Either way, I would love it. I love Harbaugh.
I liked Harbaugh. I covered him for 4 years, and you really could build a relationship with him. This is year 5 with Kyle, and I know him at the same as I knew him year 1.
Right. Whereas we got to know Harbaugh, and he's an acquired taste. I'm telling everybody here, I loved covering him, and what's more, I get a kick out of him.
He is an acquired taste.
I love him.
I wouldn't want him to be my coach, but he wasn't my coach, and he's one of these characters that's kind of a nutcase that you love. It's like, man, I love this guy. This guy's amazing. I love this guy. Yeah.
So that would be my question for Shanahan about his sense of humor. Iggy, I've never seen him smile.
No, he's very dour. He's very dour, and I feel like Robert Saleh kind of picked up the slack in all of those areas. Kyle doesn't smile. I do. Kyle's introverted. I'm extroverted. He was kind of the leader without saying it. And now this new guy, D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator, he's got a lot of that same personality stuff. Personality-wise, he's a lot like Robert Saleh, except even bigger. I mean, he was a middle linebacker in the NFL. He was the rookie of the year. He's very confident and very good at relating to players like Saleh. I asked him yesterday what his biggest challenge is going to be. He's like, well, I've never game planned or called plays, so that's going to be tough. So he seems very self-aware too. I think they have a guy who can fill in that void for Kyle. Kyle's always going to need a defensive coordinator with personality and sense of humor because that's not his thing.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
There are some people this happens to.
Yeah.
Did it happen to Kyle? Was his personality robbed at birth?
Oh, man.
Maybe. Sorry.
It might have been. It might be tough to have a personality.
Iggy didn't say that. I did. And
I didn't say that.
It was just
all I did was take a shot at Kyle Shanahan's throwing ability yesterday. Man, he needs to stop that. It's terrible. Let's delegate that task, Kyle. Every day he wants to throw the ball around, and it's like, you just one-hopped it there, buddy. Come on.
Because Harbaugh used to do it. He wants to do what Harbaugh did.
It's true. But Harbaugh played quarterback in the league. This guy wasn't even a quarterback in high school. I don't know.
I have one. Saleh. Is Saleh a laugher?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
He's a laugher.
And Saleh's endearing, too. Sal get nervous at press conferences. He would always get sweat on his upper lip, and he's constantly going like this. Self-conscious, nervous. It's like, dude, you're a natural. What are you doing? But it meant a lot to him. He really wanted to do well at those press conferences. I liked him so much. He was a good guy.
Iggy, wasn't there one time you were walking out the building and his family was there and he gave you a hug and introduced you to his whole family?
What happened was it was the day I interviewed John Lynch on Periscope. Back before we knew what like StreamYard was, and we would sit down next to each other. So I had him and my phone. It was me and John Lynch, and I walked out and I saw Saleh, and I was like, man, you're never going to believe what I just did. But I just had a 15-minute one-on-one with John Lynch, and he was like, man, that was really generous of him. And his wife was driving in. His wife drives in the biggest van you've ever seen, like one of these, I don't know, industrial vans, and opens up and like 8 kids pop out of the truck. The whole Saleh family was there. It was very cool. It's nice to meet her. She gave me a hug. Met the clan. They were nice.
Nice people, right?
Very nice people, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, that's my question. I mean, other questions that I would like to ask him is, again, I don't think he'd answer any of these. As a coach, how are you similar to your dad? How are you different?
Ooh.
As a person, how are you similar to your dad? How are you different? Yeah. As a dad, how are you similar to your dad? How are you different? Those are the kind of questions I would always want to ask, questions that got to the core of a personality.
Yeah.
And, you know, Iggy, I could do it. I could do those things.
See, some people in here are like 17, 15. They don't know about my dad. My dad is an icon, was a legend, and was the most famous sports writer in the Bay Area throughout the 80s. He was excellent at every single aspect of the profession. And if you don't know about my dad, you should go back and check him out. He was really, really good. He can still do it. He just decided to retire because you got to stop eventually. Can't do it forever.
No, you can't do it forever.
Grant and Lowell, if you could add one ex-Niner that is not a Hall of Famer to the team for injury purposes, who would it be and why? Any era? Roger Craig, maybe?
I'm not sure what the question means, Iggy. Meaning, if someone got injured, you would bring someone else in?
Yeah, I guess so. Like you can't say Joe Montana or Steve Young.
Okay, players that you'd bring in, Roger Craig, obviously. Randy Cross, the offensive line. He was a great offensive lineman.
John Taylor.
Oh boy, John Taylor.
Yeah.
Eric Wright.
Brent Jones.
Brent Jones is a great player.
You know who else was really good? Ricky Waters.
Yes, he was. He was a very good running back.
Very good running back.
Underrated.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Ricky Waters.
That's some good name. That's a good question, Jordan.